So I'm Sebastian Vitalets, a developer advocate who work for Progress. If you on Twitter, you can follow me as Sebawita. And I want to talk to you about chatbots today, specifically AI-driven chatbots. Agenda for today, I will answer questions like, what do chatbots eat? What do chatbots have dreams, right? What are the usual chatbot challenges? And we're also going to try to build a chatbot, and I do recommend that you should try it at home, right? This is not dangerous, it's fun. So let's jump on what the first question that every 6-year-old is asking. And the answer is pizza. What else could chatbots eat, right? I mean, developers eat pizza, so the chatbots are also designed to eat pizza. Second question, do they have dreams? Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you watch Blade Runner, you would also know that not only do they have dreams, but they dream of electric sheep. You know, it makes sense, at least in my head. And now let's jump into more serious stuff that every smart developer will be asking. What are the challenges really with building chatbot engines or applications? And then I got 6 of them. So the first one is around fixed decision trees. So very often chatbots that you will be interacting with, they'll have just one flow of interacting with you, right? Like they'll expect you to provide information A, B, C, D in that order, right? If you try to provide different information at the wrong order, very often they'll just disregard that and then possibly ask you later. So like basically this is what I just stated. So, and this makes it very difficult for the user to actually feel at ease with that kind of chatbots, because it's like, it feels like a one-way conversation and me just dropping pieces of information here and there. So an example of that could be a conversation like this. I want to book a flight to London for Wednesday, and then chatbot goes like, sure, where do you want to go? So it's kind of weird, I just told you, but to the chatbot, he actually thinks the first step should be hi. And then I ask you a question, and after I ask you a question, then you answer. Otherwise, you're rude. So I was like, okay. So like I said, I want to go to London. When? Well, I want to go on Wednesday. Like, what do you mean? I didn't get that. And at this point, the chatbot actually expects a specific date. So I go like type slow. It was like, hey, 31st, just get me there. And then the chatbot goes like, okay, for how many people, etc., right? So you can kind of see how like fixed pathways, like they could be very tiresome to the users, right? They don't feel natural. Another challenge is the lack of understanding of business entities. So very often chatbots should be aware of the types of information that they talk about. So if we're talking about insurance agent or a pizza delivery system or a hospital, right? The chatbot should, for example, know about the doctors that are in that hospital, the treatment rooms, etc., right? Which kind of makes it a lot easier to have the communication, because then they can acknowledge you saying, I want to meet this doctor or that doctor, right? So the challenge in here is like as follows, like again, the conversation. I want to meet with Dr. Burke on Tuesday. And if the chatbot is not aware of the doctor, you basically go like, well, I don't quite understand what you want, right? While the good scenario, when we have proper understanding of the business entities, would go like that. I want to meet with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. At this point, the chatbot looks at this and tries to extract a few pieces of information. So first it goes like, oh, you said Dr. Burke? I actually have a full record of this guy, and his name is John Burke, and I have his ID, and I know where is his treatment room, etc., etc. But also, I noticed that you actually want to book a doctor, so that's going to be the conversation we'll have. And you said Tuesday, so I can actually infer from that you probably mean this specific date. And when we have this kind of information, then our chatbot can react a lot better to this conversation. So you can actually respond with, well, okay, so what time do you want to meet Dr. John Burke? And then we have like a nice conversation going ahead. Another challenge is around a lack of proper acknowledgements, right? So the acknowledgements are really important, that when somebody gives you a piece of information, the chatbot should respond like, oh yeah, I got that. So you want to go to London, or you want to go on Tuesday, right? If you don't do that, then the user will be confused. Like he won't be quite sure whether you understood the information that he needed you to. So here's a piece of information. So we start a chat. Hey, hi, I would like to sign up for a health insurance for a ski trip to Italy from March 6 to March 9. There's a lot of information here, right? And if the chatbot responds with, what's your age? At this point, you go like, are you sure you got all the info, right? You don't feel very at ease with the whole process. So the proper way of dealing with that would be, hey, I want that ski trip. I'm going to Italy from March 6 to March 9. And the chatbot should go, hey, going to Italy sounds fun. Let's do it. I can get you an insurance from this date to this date. And then you can ask, what's your age? And if you follow this process, you actually feel at ease. You're like, okay, whoever is on the other side understood what I'm talking about. And what's also possible that maybe the chatbot understood something different, right? So by providing acknowledgement, maybe we understood the ski trip as something else. And if we provide that acknowledgement, the user has an opportunity to say, actually, I didn't mean ski trip, I meant ski jumping trip, right? Like I'm going crazy, kind of thing. By the way, I'm Polish, and ski jumping is very big in Poland, so we like to do that. There's no insurance for it, trust me. So, dealing with ambiguities. So very often, and it's like I always say about English as language, that English is very ambiguous. You can say something, and then if I ask you what this meant, to multiple people will mean completely different things. So what about chatbots? To them, the job is even harder because they have to be very precise. And then it's actually very important to have a process to deal with those ambiguities. So when you get multiple pieces of information and you don't know how to exactly deal with them, you should be able to interact with the user and kind of let them know. So here's one type of a conversation we can have. I talked to Dr. Burke, and he told me to book an appointment with Dr. Alcott, right? And at this point, the chatbot could see okay, so you want to book an appointment. You mentioned Dr. Burke. Okay, so let's get you an appointment with Dr. Burke, right? It's not exactly what the person wanted. So then the person will go no, I want to see Dr. Alcott. It's just Dr. Burke that told me to do that, right? So a better way to deal with this kind of scenario would be, again, I talked to Dr. Burke. I want to see Dr. Alcott. And at this point, if the bot is confused, it could say basically, hey, which of the two doctors do you want to see, right? So yeah, it is extra step for the user, but at the same time, it's not very difficult to take that step. It basically just taps on the Dr. Alcott button, and then we carry on with the conversation, which is quite good. Challenge number 5, it's lack of long-term memory. So a lot of chatbots will treat every single conversation like a completely new conversation, right? They're basically they're chatbots with amnesia. And it's not really fun when you interact with this chatbot over and over again, right? So, and the thing is that chatbots are designed to automate those processes. They're designed, or their purpose is to streamline the conversations and guide the people through a bunch of steps to achieve some goals. And if we don't help them by reusing the information we already know, then we're basically failing the users to some extent. Right? So this could be one scenario where you could go, hey, it's me again. Can you book me an appointment with Dr. Burke on Tuesday at 11? And at this point, the chatbot goes yeah, absolutely. Let's book you the appointment for this doctor for this date. What is your phone number, right? And if this is a person that does it every week to book that appointment, you actually be a bit confused and you say, well, don't you have it already? How many times do you want me to give you this number, right? Well, the better way of doing that is we have the same conversation, we acknowledge the information, and then we say, hey, we actually have your number on the record, right? Do you want to use this number or not? And if you say yes, then you just carry on. But if you want to change the number, you just say no, and then you provide a new number. Trick question. Anybody knows whose phone number is this? I bet nobody does. Huh? It's from Theresa May, the British Prime Minister. You can call her. That's her number. For real. I did. It's fun. So, final challenge. Use of conversational UI. So the chatbot is like, the name says like chat, right? But it's not just about chatting. It's not just about writing text and passing information through text, but there's other mediums and other ways that we can communicate with. And since we like building various UIs, like it's very important to give users like quicker options to provide us with information. And this is as well a big challenge with many chatbots, that they just allow you to process like maybe the conversational part of it, but if you handle the UI yourself, then it takes actually quite a lot of effort for you to provide specific cases where, let's say you want to book a concert ticket, and then instead of me guessing what tickets you have available, I should actually give you a list of artists and maybe concerts that are there with like a rich UI. So here's one scenario. Can you book me an appointment with Dr. Burke on Tuesday? Okay, I understand. Let's get you an appointment with Dr. Burke. What time? I mean, does anyone see anything wrong about this step? Well, the thing is that at this point, if I say 12, the bot could go like, no, Dr. Burke is busy. What time? Do you want to keep going? What if he's busy just like one slot in a whole day, right? So this is where we should use like a nice a conversational UI to help with this journey. And it's like, yeah, this is going to take a while. Sorry, didn't get that. Try again. What time? So a better way of doing it. Again, I want to see Dr. Berg on Tuesday. I get it. Here are the available slots. Right? It's so much easier. Like if it, and then at this point now I know, like I want to go see him at 12, but okay, 11 is fine. And if it's not, I can just say, how about Wednesday? Right? And this is actually really, really important. So following those challenges, and there's a bunch of other ones as well, like building chatbots is easy, right? It's like anyone can do it, just like drop a couple of if statements and a couple of switches and you're ready to go. So at Progress, we had this project a couple of years ago where we wanted to create a virtual assistant that was supposed to help us with various tasks. And one of them was around booking meeting rooms, right? So booking a meeting room is simple, right? You need a date and time, and you need like specific meeting room, maybe the size, and like maybe send some invites. Like what could be complicated about that, right? So this is a design like version 1 from our logical steps. So if we were to code that, I think this would take more like than 10,000 lines to actually just do a proper booking system assistant. And at that point, we realized that there was no way we're going to write code for it, because we could literally just follow maybe 2 or 3 different paths, right? And this is kind of what leads to a lot of challenges and a lot of problems with the existing chatbot, is that because the complexity of the flows is so huge, if the chatbots are not intelligent enough or flexible enough, you end up with just a small set of paths that you can follow, which is not often very helpful, very useful. It's one of those things that if you follow the steps correctly, then you're fine. As soon as you screw up somewhere, you get penalized heavily, which is what a lot of airlines do, for example. So our answer to that was actually creating Native Chat, which is like an AI-powered platform for creating intelligent chatbots. And then kind of try to answer a lot of those challenges that I mentioned before. And instead of using like if-else statements, we went for a declarative way of defining the chatbots. So you declare the problems, you declare your goals, and you declare your steps that you want to handle throughout the process, but you don't specifically say do A, B, C in that specific order. So you kind of like just give context to the AI of how to deal with that. And this actually is working out pretty well for us. And then while we were working on Native Chat, like one of our first customers was a hospital in Sofia. That's in Bulgaria, so that's the Shteref Hospital, and we actually have a case study. If you want to have a look and then read it, I recommend. It's quite a nice read. And one of the things that we actually realized also, chatbots are not useful when you want to replace, let's say, the customer support. That's not their purpose. Chatbots are there to support your customer support. It's to take away the same task like over and over again. If it's something simple where you just want to see like, is Dr. Berg available at 12? You don't need a real person to answer that question. Machine can handle that, right? So as a result of integrating with native chat, like the guys from the Sheriff Hospital, they noted that the decrease was of like 49% of the interactions with their patients. So that gave them more time, and then if somebody phoned up, they could receive the calls a lot faster, and that helped a lot. So here's one scenario, and I'm gonna go through like a few benefits of what native chat can do for you. If you create a new project in native chat, there's like a template called insurance agent that kind of takes you through the steps of like booking an insurance for specific dates and country, etc. And then this basically shows like how this is very useful. So native chat gives you natural language processing. So it doesn't deal with just English, but it can also cover 72 different languages, and also depending on how you say things, you can actually deduct the information quite well. It uses acknowledgements. So if you say something and the bot recognizes it, it will give you an acknowledgement as a result. It uses slot algorithms, so whenever you don't have to type information, like say, hey, are you a boy or a girl, right? Like just give me 2 checkboxes. That's kind of useful. It allows you to change your mind. So if you went through the whole process of booking an insurance and then you say, actually, I got the dates wrong, most of the chatbots will take you back all the way to the beginning. It's like, okay, let's start again. While in this case, we could actually say like, yeah, I'm almost there. I just want to change one thing. And this is actually quite an easy thing to do. You also get like automatic confirmations. So once you are towards the end of the whole process, you could like with a tiny bit of code or the markup that we use, you could just like validate the whole process that you achieved the goal, and then you can, let's say, send the paperwork to actually acknowledge the insurance. The use of the conversational UI, so we're using like various options, so you could have like a carousel with images and like some additional information, and that lets users make their choices a lot quicker and is a lot nicer to use. And we have this interesting thing as well where you could use frequently asked questions. So imagine you're in the middle of the process of booking insurance, and then in the middle you want to ask like, do you also cover ski jumpers, right? And then normally a lot of chatbots will go like, oh, you want to talk about something else? Let's forget about this, right? Well, in our case, we could go and check our FAQ and say, oh, we have an answer to this. We'll just give you the answer, but then we'll drag you back to the conversation that was at hand. So then that's the part where we are always focused on goals. So we let you ask all the question or something, but we'll always encourage you to carry on and complete what you started. And this is as well very important for businesses, because you really want somebody to go through the whole process and actually buy that insurance, right? You don't want somebody to drop out in the middle. And then, value suggestions. So that's basically if you already know information about this person, like their phone number, their email, or like the city they always use, you could actually repeat that info. And then finally, image recognition, which is one of my favorite, where if you tell the user to provide you with like a receipt, and they give you, for example, a picture of a cat, you could actually know that this is a cat, and go like, yeah, well, cats are cute, but give me the receipt, please, kind of thing. And this is like, pretty cool. So these are some of the features that we have. So what I want to do is actually build a quick chatbot for you, and we'll see how it goes. So how are we doing on time? All right, it's only going to take 10 minutes like I promised. So I'm actually in the environment where you can build a native chat. So that's at portal.nativechat.com. You have to register. I'll give you some details later. And we can start here and create a new conversation. So it's basically a JSON file. And we can basically start with a conversation. So I'm going to create a conversation which will have some sort of a goal. And then this is going to be for a pizza order. And in here we'll have a bunch of steps. So we'll have a step of type question, right? And then in this case, like you could, for example, ask somebody like, what's your email address or what's your name to kind of get it going. What I'm gonna do instead of question for now, I'll do a question later, but I'm just gonna do a quick step that says message, and we'll say, oh, so you want to eat a pizza. It will be just like a super basic chatbot. So we have this conversation called pizza order, and then we have this other tab for training. So this is usually where you create your business entities, but also you teach the chatbot to recognize some of their conversations. So conversation, oh yeah. So our conversation will be pizza order. And if somebody says something like, I am hungry, or maybe I want to order a pizza. So like those conversations, we would treat them as, jump on the ordering pizza path. So now if I come back, I can go back to test, and the chatbot kind of starts like, yeah, chatbot Pizza Hunt is successfully mapped. So this is like a debugging console, and I can say, I am very hungry now. So not exactly the same sentence. And then the chatbot actually recognizes like, oh, so you want to eat a pizza, right? So this is actually our first step to the whole process. We can also see like the understanding of what the chatbot understood from this conversation and the confidence. So you can usually order, so you can see it was 97% confident that we want to order a pizza, right? Not a rocket science just yet. So let's jump into a bit of training, create an entity. So how about we have pizza sizes? So I'm gonna make it static data, so enter it manually. And we'll have a bunch of sizes. So let's say medium. Medium, but also we'll accept if you say 15-inch. Okay, we're gonna do large, and that's gonna be 18-inch. Oh, I wasn't saving actually. My bad, again. 15, save, yeah. Large, 18-inch, save. And then we can do extra large. Extra large. That will be 21-inch. And we're gonna add one more value if somebody says XL. So basically, we have 3 values, but they have multiple synonyms, so we could recognize all of those. Okay, let's go back to our cognitive flow. For the pizza order, we're actually not gonna do this bit anymore. We're gonna do a question step. So in this case, we wanna extract the size information. So this is just the name of our variable, and this is the name of the type. And we can ask, how big pizza, or just how big, yeah. Or we can have a grumpy pizza size now. So you can have like multiple options. And then at this point of this step, we can also do add an acknowledgement. So that's a reaction of the acknowledgements. And I can actually say something like that. Okay, cool. So size it is. So I can use like the double handlebar to actually put in the information that I was just provided. Okay, let's save that and we can test it. So I can say, I am hungry. Pizza size now, okay? Medium. And then we'll get a response. Huh. I think we're missing just a step. Get to that later, I guess. I think if we have one more step, the acknowledgement will pop up. I think that's the problem. I just want to show one thing, because you don't always want to type specifically information. So I can have like of type quick reply, and this is actually quite cool because instead of typing, we can also provide suggestions in terms of sizes for the pizzas. So I want to order a pizza. And then we get like options, so I can choose extra large, and we good. Or I can also restart, and this is the fun part, where I can say, I am hungry for an XL pizza. And the chat will also recognize, oh yeah, now it said it, yeah. So extra large it is. So again, like that was the thing when I was saying before, where we can provide multiple pieces of information at the different times, and we kind of guiding the whole process. In terms of data, how about we add some different types of pizza? And we could use dynamic data sets. So what I have, like I have my pizzas like in the Kinvi backend, and I can actually extract that information directly from that and then train my chatbot to understand what sort of pizzas we have in the backend. And if we add new pizzas in the future, I could very quickly retrain it on some of the new pizzas. So I'm just going to add the URL. In the headers, I'm going to get the authorization key. So that's how I'm going to extract the data. So this, that's it. And then for the value, so if I show you just very quickly, where you go? Each record will have type, image, and name properties. So I'm going to train my bot to use the name property for each record. So if I test it, these are the available pizzas in my backend. What am I missing? Oh, pizza. The entity has to have a name. All right, let's create that. And now our backend, now our entities will also contain pizzas, which will have the names, but also like this additional information. So if I go back to my cognitive flow, I can also, as a second step after size, I can ask to choose the pizza size. Okay, so what I'm gonna do though, so it's, too much step question. So I'm gonna again do pizza of type pizza, and then say which pizza would you like, and then at this point the user could type it, or we could give them an option to actually select from the backend. So I'm just gonna copy this because that takes a bit more of typing, and then I'll explain you very, very quickly what this actually does. So we've got messages. So basically I'm just saying I want to display possible options to my user using the single select controller, and I'm saying get the data from my backend. So if new pizzas arrive today, like I can get it directly from there, or even I could provide the media queries inside. And then for each record, I'm going to use the name as the title, then in the subtitle display the type, and then image will come from the IMG property. And then also you have like the title and the button, etc. Okay, so let's test that. So I can say I want a large pizza. So cool, so large it is. Which pizza would you like? And I can click here and I get like a nice list of pizzas. I actually like Hawaiian pizza, so I'm gonna select that. And we kind of like ready to go. No, not Hawaiian. It's my favorite. So now we chose, okay, we have the size, we have a pizza, so maybe we can put through an order. So what do we need for an order? We probably need to get person's address, right? Okay, so step, question, we'll call it address, and that will be text. And then I can say, where should we send it? And we can also have like a more rude version. where to send, you better be there. Because we can. And those are like, basically either one or the other will get displayed. So we have that. Okay, let's add a reaction and an acknowledgement. And then now I can say, cool. So and then we could do again, like construct a longer message. Size, pizza will go to address. And we can send like that. We can construct this kind of acknowledgements in however way we want based on the information we already have. So we have this acknowledgement, and then we can add one more step where we can also confirm entities. So at this point, we could basically give the user the option to change their address or maybe the size if they want to. So I can say, order, let's say confirmation is just a name for me, and I want to allow the user to change maybe the size, change the address, and maybe change the pizza. Cool. So, and the question will be, are you okay with these details? Okay, with that. And then like the final bit that we normally do, so we allow the user to choose the size of the pizza, the type of the pizza, we have the address, we allow them to make the confirmation. So once they confirm, we would probably have to send a request to our backend to actually process the order, right? So there's one step called webhook. And basically this is the step where you can actually send like a post to your backend with the details of the order. And then from then on, your own system would take over and then process the order and then send out the details. So the endpoint in my case will be HTTPS magic pizza fairy. They exist, trust me. And in the headers, like, okay, we let's say we don't have headers. And then maybe for the payload, I can send, okay, size. That will be the size. Oops, wrong place. We need size. We need to pass in the pizza, which will get it from the selected pizza name. And the last bit is the address. Cool. Let's see if that works. So let's test that. So we did more steps this time. So I can go with, okay, hi. How can I help? Well, I am hungry for a large pizza. Cool. Pick your favorite. So we can go for pepperoni. The address, Aloft, Boston, MA, you know it. Right, okay. So, and at this point, I can actually either confirm it or change one of them. And actually, I could say, I could either select it or type it. I want an XL pizza. There are many people here. Yeah, it's an extra large pizza. And now I can confirm, and then this goes to the Magic Pizza Fairy. And if this was actually connected to like a real backend or something, this will be the real process for ordering a pizza. And then we would all be fed in here right now. Right? How cool would that be? So, yeah, but the Magic Fairy seems to be failing me. So, you know, you can only pray for that. So, oh, what's going on? Oh yeah, I did, over here, over here. Extra large, very nice. What do we have?
Get some cheese and Hawaiian in there for you.
Pepperoni, Hawaiian. Oh, so I actually remember even the previous order. Nice, nice. Oh, this smells so good. So good. So Magic Fairy exists. It's called Rob. Next. So I'm just wrapping up. So I think this is pretty cool. Like, how long was I doing that? Like 10, 15 minutes, and we had pizza? It takes longer to cook a pizza than me writing an actual chatbot, right? So I think this is pretty awesome. Where to go next from here? Check out our website. So if you go to progress.com/nativechat, you can learn more about what we do and what our plans are. You can go to the developers playground. So if you want to start playing, and you should try it at home, just go to the portal.nativechat.com/register, and you can create your own account from there. You can check out our docs. We cover quite a lot of different scenarios and different options, so that's pretty good. We also have some blogs around native chat, and we had a nice webinar which was showing how native chat works. And then you can also follow us on Twitter at native chat. So yeah, thank you for your time. And if you're hungry, you should come over.